I'm here today installing a Luba Mini all-wheel drive 800. Now we're really excited. This is the first and only one in the UK. We've not set this machine up before. We've got an unboxing video which we'll include a link to in the description. But this is our first time getting it out, putting it in a real-world situation and going through the installation process. As you can see, the weather's not great. It's the middle of January, so it's very cold, quite damp still. So not the ideal time to get a robot lawnmower out on the lawn. If you're installing a machine yourself, we recommend maybe a bit later in the year when it warms up and the grass is growing a bit more. But we were just really excited to get this machine set up, show you the process and see how it works. So first things first, in the box we get this lovely big clear quick start guide telling us exactly what we need to do. So there's a little checklist of everything that's inside, and that you can open that up and check everything against that. And then on the other side we've got everything we need to do in order. So step one is to put the vision module on the robot. We've already done that. I did that in my unboxing video, so that's already on the machine. But that is the only bit of assembly you've got to do. You don't have to put anything else on the machine. Essentially, take the vision module out of the box, take a disposable cover off the top of the machine, and then secure that with 4 screws. So next is the base station itself. So there is just a little cover. You clip onto the top of it here. We just popped that on earlier, but that just clipped in the top there. And then we just need our power supply, and we need base station pegs out of the accessory box. So the first thing we've got to do is consider where we're going to site our base station or our recharge station, whatever you want to refer to it as, ultimately where the machine is going to dock and charge itself. The thing to bear in mind with Mammotion is that you don't want it tucked right by the edge or a corner of a tall building. You don't want the base station to be obstructed on multiple sides, because when the machine departs, it still needs to be able to see a decent amount of satellites to get enough signal for its positioning data. Along a fence like this is perfectly fine, and ideally you're going to have it somewhere flat where you can put all 4 stakes in to secure it. Now we've got a lot of options with how we have the base station oriented. We can have it along the edge of the lawn like this. You can have it poking out into the lawn like that, or this way round. You've got a lot of flexibility. You don't need a really long run up into the base station. For our purposes here, we're actually just going to pop it in the corner here. It's out of the way. We can secure it at 2 points here and here, but because of where it is, the machine and anything else really isn't likely to knock into the charging station and push it out of position. And you've got the option to secure it by drilling in at the back here. But I think for our purposes, just setting this up on this lawn, this is a nice, neat place for it to be, and it's not going to cause us any problems. So in the pack of pegs in our accessory kit, we've got a few different things. We've got these ones that are sort of stakes that you just hammer down. These are for cable management. So if you're laying your power supply cable along the ground, you can use these just to secure it in place and neaten it up. Same with these little hoops here, if you need to secure it against a pole or similar. So we don't need those at the moment, because we're not going to be running our power cable a particularly long way because our socket is here. But what we do need are these. So these are the stakes for the base station, and you see they screw into the ground like that, and they've got a hex head, and supplied with it is this plastic Allen key to secure those in. Now, obviously, if you've got your own tools that you prefer to use, that's perfectly fine, but you're provided with everything you need to do the installation in the box. So there we've got the base station secured. So like I said, in an ideal situation, you'd have it secured by all 4 stakes, but this is actually plenty secure. It's out of the way. It's not going to be knocked by the robot. And if you had a concrete or a slab surface at the back here, and this is where you wanted to put your base station, it was the most ideal place for you. You could always drill down into that and secure it that way. But as it currently stands, that's not going anywhere. That's not going to cause any issues for the recharging. So I'm happy with that. And then it's best practice not to leave your power supplies at ground level. So you've got 2 loops just in the power supply there. So we're just going to fix that into position on there. So now we can see that everything's working. The base station is powered on because we've got the solid green LED at the top here. That's a charging indicator, so when the machine's in the dock, that changes, that flashes, and that can indicate different things. But at the moment, we're just looking to see that power is being supplied, and it is. So it's time to go on to the next step, which is installing the reference station. So we just need to choose where we're going to put our reference station. Now, this is the reference station itself. So it's just a slight bit of assembly here, where you just need to put the antenna into the reference station like so. So you've got a few options with the stake. This is actually, you've got varying lengths on it. So you've got a longer section here, which you can take out if you just want a short wall mount here. So this is designed to go either in the lawn or in a wall or on a fence. So on the Mini models, you've got your longer section here, your shorter section here. If you're putting it into the lawn, you can just attach this stake into the bottom, like so, and then just drive it in. I would say that the ideal is actually mounting it to a wall or a fence, just because you've only got that single point that it's shored down into the ground. So I think it's a little easier to get knocked. On the larger Luba models, you have a sort of a trident, so you've got 3 points that it goes into the ground. So I think staking that into the ground, that's perfectly fine. It's a longer stake as well. But this one, I think, where the manufacturer has specifically designed a wall mount bracket for it, let's use that. So on the fence here, we don't need this extra bit of length. If you're putting it on the eave of a house, you want to sort of get past the roof line, you might want that extra little bit. Here we don't really need it. Pop that on there. The end of this here, it's similar to a camera mount really. You've got 90 degrees on there. You're just going to have that pointing straight up at 90 degrees. Secured. So that's ready to go on. Now, if you're mounting this to a brick wall or concrete, you're supplied with expanding bolts. So you get 4 expanding bolts. You'll just need to drill the appropriate holes, and then you can fit that in here. We're just going to put it on a fence because for this lawn, that's the most ideal location. So I'm just going to pop that in there. So while we're slightly obstructed, we're still going to have a great clear view of the sky. There's going to be absolutely no issues with the signal there. So that's where I want it to go. We're just going to need to use some wood screws and some washers to hold that in place. We're just going to hook up our reference station to the power now. Now, where we've got it positioned, we're close enough that we can use the connection on the charging station to power it. So I'm just using one of those little cable tidies I mentioned earlier. So root that out of the way. We can connect that up to the matching connection on the base station. Now, you don't have to do it this way. The reference station comes with its own power supply and a 5-meter extension, so you can have it in a completely different place from the base station. Now, it's worth mentioning that this is a relatively small lawn, about 200 square meters, so down here is absolutely fine. That's going to broadcast its signal okay. If we were using the full capacity of the robot, or a larger robot that can cover a larger area, we'd really recommend putting the reference station higher up so it can broadcast its signal better. It doesn't need line of sight to the robot, so we've got this. So in this case, we've got it on the other side of a fence, so the reference station can't see the robot while it's working, and it doesn't need to. But because it's broadcasting a radio signal, and that's how the robot and the reference station communicate with each other, the larger the area, the higher up the better. So now that we've powered this on, the LED underneath will just flash green for a few moments, just while the reference station is positioning itself. It's just getting the signal from various satellites. In a moment, we're going to connect to it on the app and show you what the reference station is seeing. But essentially, you just want that to turn solid green, and then you know that its position is fixed and you're ready to start mapping. now all the physical parts of the installation are done, everything else is on the Mammotion app. So just need to download the app, and then we need to connect to our reference station and to our robot. So we've connected to the reference station via Bluetooth, and we've bound that to the home Wi-Fi network. So now we can see that we're connected to the reference station. We'll just tap at the top and just check its positioning status. I can see that that's fixed. That's exactly what we want to see, just a green dot and then the positioning status fix. So that's good, that's all operating as it should be. And then we just need to add the robot itself as well. So we're all connected to the robot now. It does also, I've connected it to the home Wi-Fi network here. It does have an inbuilt 4G module, and it does automatically start using that by the looks of it when you first connect to it. If you've got decent Wi-Fi signal in your garden, there's really no reason not to use that. And you don't need that for the robot to function. All that is for is so you can connect to the robot remotely and then give it new tasks, set it mowing, see what it's doing, that kind of thing. So now the first thing we need to do is create a map. So I'm just controlling the robot on my phone screen with some virtual joysticks. So we're going to take the robot to the edge of the perimeter where we want to start. And on a lawn like this, where we've got a nice flush edge all around, we can run the robot along the edge of it here, so we can have the wheels overhang the edge slightly. Before we map the area, the first thing we should do is just set the machine up for the charge station. So I'm just going to pop it here and then tap return to charge. And then the robot will line up. So there's an infrared sensor at the back of the robot and one on the base station here. The robot just lines those two up and then takes itself into the base station. And then when it's in there, it will know the location of that relative to its global position. And what we're going to do here, because this lawn has a nice flush edge, we're just going to overhang the wheels of the robot a little on it. That means that when it's cutting along its perimeter, it will give a nice cut all the way around to the edge. So what we need to do is just go create, area, start mapping a task area, and then start mapping. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this all the way around the edge of the garden, nice and slowly. You can change the drive speed of the robot, so whatever you're comfortable with. Now, on the release version of this robot, there will also be an auto mapping feature. As we've got the first one in the country, we don't quite have that feature enabled yet. So as soon as we do, we'll make a quick video that shows how that works. But at the moment, what we're doing is we're just mapping this manually. So we've mapped the robot back to its start point, and then the app will tell you mapping is completed. Just click the green tick to save it. So we got it and finish. And then you see we've got a nice complete area. Now, this is quite a simple lawn. We don't really have anywhere that we need to do as a no-go zone, but just to demonstrate one for you, I'm just going to do it around this manhole cover. Now, we wouldn't need to do this as a no-go zone because all the edges of it are below the surface of the lawn. The robot's not going to catch on it, but just to show you. So if you want a no-go zone, just take the machine to the edge of whatever it is you need to map around. Then just like with mapping an area, you just drive it around, and this creates a little exclusion zone that the robot won't go inside. And then that will show up as a yellow area on your map. Now, the other thing you can do is if you've got separate areas, you can create a channel between them. Again, we've only got the one lawn here, so we don't need to map one, but that's really simple. You just tap create, go into channel, and then drive the robot from one area to another. But in terms of mapping, we are done. Let's create a task. We're going to set the mower working. So now we're on the home screen here. I'm just going to tap task, going to ask us which area that we want it to mow in. In this lawn, we've only got the one area, so area 1, confirm. And then we've got loads of different options. We can change what our cut height's going to be. We can change how fast the robot's going to go. We can change what type of path the machine wants to go on, whether it's just a regular zigzag or whether you want a chessboard. So we're just going to do that, a regular zigzag, leave the path spacing as it is the default, do 1 perimeter mowing lap, and we're just going to leave it, we're just going to leave the angle of the lines as it is, but we can just change that to whatever we want, so you can get whatever finish you want on your lawn. And then the app will tell you how big the area it's going to cut is and how long it's going to take. So just going to do that as a one-time task. The robot does a quick self-check, and then it's going to start working. So you can see now on the app, it's created a visualization of where it's going to cut on the lawn. Essentially, what it starts by doing is it goes to a corner of the area, says it's going to start work, and then starts working from there. So you can hopefully hear the blades. You might not be able to because they're not very loud. The blades are going now, and then that robot is just going to work and cut in its linear path all across the lawn. We've set the cut height quite low just so you can sort of see on video the robot working. The reality is, when the robot's working in season, what it's going to be doing is mulching the grass. It's really going to be cutting no more than a few millimeters off the top at a time, because it's going to be working regularly and keeping your lawn at the length you want it. It's going to keep it at a consistent length. We're just doing this. This is just the first cut here. Like I said, it's January. The lawn hasn't been cut for a couple of months. So we're just taking the top off. But as I say, this isn't what you'd expect it to be leaving every day, unless you set the cut height really, really low and you've got quite long grass. But as we can see, the robot's working away happily. We'll come back in a few days and see what the lawn looks like. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos. We'll be checking back on the Luba Mini soon to see its progress. We just want to give the grass a bit of a chance to grow and have that established on the lawn nicely, so we can really see the difference that the robot makes to the lawn. If you haven't already, please check out our unboxing video for the Luba Mini. That should be the first link in the description below. Thank you very much for watching.